Attention shoppers, clean up on aisle 14. Clean up on aisle 14. Someone dropped a jar of pickles. Pickles. Kosher pickles.
Beatboxing at a big box store. Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
A red minivan has the lights on in the parking lot.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Geico.
This is the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast.
Good Friday morning, everybody. And there's no better phrase than Good Friday morning. Welcome in, Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Glad you're with us. Trey Wingo, Mike Golic, and Mike Golic Jr. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. We made it.
Yes, we
made
did.
it to Friday, and
Proud of you guys.
It is. Look, for us, that's a victory.
I mean, are you kidding me? And especially this Friday.
Yeah.
Because we have one of the greatest things to look forward to.
Yes, we do.
A trip to Minnesota.
No, before that, the Pro Bowl.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Come on, it'll be fun.
Oh,
it'll be
man.
fun on ESPN and ABC.
The fun was last night in the skills competition.
Well, that's also true, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah, we will. We will.
But I'm embracing, Mike, a concept that you sort of turned me onto here, and I'm going to be all full bore on this. I hadn't thought about it till you brought it up a couple of days ago, but I'm all in on this. And that's basically stealing from your son.
Yes.
So,
without question.
Mike, when I drive in...
You were the one that I heard rumbling around by my garbage cans last night.
That is also true.
Well,
when I'm driving into work, you help get us set for the show with the wonderful things you do and the way you talk it, and then we're just going to steal some of that stuff.
No doubt.
You give us topics and all kinds of things to deal with. You also make me think.
That's what I'm here for, man.
And sometimes I admit that's a little scary. So I'm listening to you come in today, and you're talking about Tiger and all this kind of stuff and his return, which we'll get into later. You're talking about the combine, and you get on the subject of Baker Mayfield.
Oh yeah,
and we always talk about this on this show. There should be two drafts: one after the season is over, and then one when it's actual draft, and see how amazingly different those two drafts would be. And one of the things that Baker's going to have to do is going to have to sort of ease people's tensions about not only his slightly diminutive size as a quarterback, just at 6 feet or just a little bit over.
Small.
But also, can he be a CEO? Can he do this? And it's going to be in meetings and pro days and workouts with teams. And the meetings and the interviews are probably going to be as important as anything. And then trying to be as eloquent as you can.
Oh, yeah.
You drop this on us.
Baker has to assuage some of those concerns.
And I almost drove off the road.
It's a $2 word. You're welcome.
It's a $15 word.
Yeah,
it was great.
That's SAT stuff right there.
It was great. And actually,
what was that word?
Well, the actual word is assuage. And
what did I say?
Assuage. You made it French and also incorrect.
Let me hear that again.
Yeah, no, it sounds. Baker has to assuage some of those concerns.
So I admired the effort because I always tell my kids, I don't care if you're successful, just as long as you try hard.
Well, exactly.
And you tried hard.
And you make it sound even better. It sounds a little more elite. It sounds like he's
French.
Really going out of his way. So
I must assuage these GMs.
That's what that word is? Yeah. I always thought it was a sausage.
That also makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's very on brand.
But by the way, we should point out that you apparently were not the worst at attempting to hear this word, because this also happened.
Can be assuaged by a 15-yard penalty.
Ooh,
can be
that was Greeny.
Assuaged.
All right, so if he messed it up,
I was going to say that's pretty good company then.
Yeah,
because Greeny usually speaks the English language pretty well, especially when he was sitting next to me for 18 years, and I would butcher that thing. He would sound,
he doesn't have like carte blanche then, because he really was never going to get called to the task by you, despite basically calling it Nnamdi Asomugha.
Do we know?
Along those lines. Now that you brought that up, the greatest draft mispronounce ever in the history of the NFL. A lot of people say it's Brett Favre when he was.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. When Paul Tagliabue was announcing Nnamdi Asomugha as the number one pick in the first round of that year, I think it was 90. I can't remember what year. It was early 2000s.
Doesn't matter.
Paul Tagliabue got up there and he got handed the card, and you can see him look at it and sort of like, oh my God, what am I doing here?
Right.
And it's Nnamdi Asomugha. He pronounced it Asmuga Nnamdi. So
See,
not only did he butcher both words, he transposed them.
And let me tell you, somebody should have got fired. How do you hand the commissioner of the NFL a card like that?
Good luck with
and
that.
Not either tell him how to say it or have a phonetic spelling.
Good luck with that, Tags.
By the way, that's the exact reason why I want Stu Gatz to announce every draft pick, because I want that look of shock and awe on his face when he handed what is this? Just looking at the card and knowing there's no chance, and seeing how badly on the biggest day of these young men's lives someone can butcher their names.
Well, listen, we go through, when you started calling games and I call games, I said that's my biggest fear, is getting some guy's name wrong on TV. I feel horrible about that.
Everyone should have to call a game for Hawaii or one of the Utah teams.
Exactly.
Because
if
you really want
to.
Yeah, that's a good way. That one too. God bless you.
I did that a couple times a game, then I said, from now on the rest of this gang, he's number 6. Okay?
And the other thing Stu Gatz should do, try and do clay court specialists from Eastern Europe that appear in other tennis majors. That's a nightmare. And by the way, just so everyone knows, we've gone off so many things. The actual pronunciation of the word is assuage, not...
Baker has to assuage some of those concerns.
And nor is it...
Can be assuaged by a 15-yard penalty.
So it's assuage. Are we sure there are not multiple pronunciations?
Yeah, we need Dr. What's-his-name from the spelling bee.
From the spelling bee. If they're...
All right, well, look, by the way, the reason the Greeny drop came up, because I told Stanzik to find this thing, and I typed it into the computer, and that was the first thing that came up when he typed in assuage.
You know what? I'm adopting assuage, because that one that one to me is the most
that sounds like a town in New Jersey.
And it's Ramapo. It sounds like something that you get beeped out every time you say it.
Exactly. The FCC is going to send us all a nice envelope.
What are they doing over there?
So again, thank you for giving us 7 minutes of content.
There you go.
Just want you to know, we appreciate that very much on a Friday morning.
How you roll.
As we are ready to roll. Now we're going to do the actual show.
Yeah, we
ready? Let's start.
It's time for Off the Top.
Whether you like it or not,
It's just beginning.
With Golic and Wingo.
all right, we start off the top with Tiger Woods. Back in his first PGA Tour event, sorry, Bruce, as I messed that up yesterday, shot an even par 72 on Torrey Pines South Course in the opening round of the Farmers Insurance Open. Again, his first official PGA Tour round in a year.
What was amazing to me here is everybody's talking about his putts, that the longest putt he made was just under 5 feet, or a little over 4 feet, I should say. He was 18 of 19 on putts up to 5 feet. He was 0 for 12 on putts more than 10 feet. He had no putts from 6 to 10 feet, so it was either close or over 10 feet. He supposedly didn't do that well, and afterward, when he talked, he said one of the things he was most happy about was his putting. So that just shows I know nothing about golf or what I'm looking at, because everybody looked like he was struggling there. His average drive was 299. That was, right in the middle, in the upper end of this.
He ripped a couple of drives, which looked pretty
good. He absolutely did, and he hit a couple of darts from the fairway as well. But that, to me, was the most interesting thing, is to people that thought that he putted bad, he said that's something he thought he did well at. Either way, with the leaders 7 under, he's sitting at even par. I think he goes under par today.
I don't really think any of that matters. I think him hugging the middle on this is probably best for Tiger, so you don't push too hard, because, you get an inch and all of a sudden you start to push your foot down on the gas a little bit too much, and that's how you end up hurt again. I'm just thankful that the people who typed this up listened to our conversation apparently early on and put the phonetic spelling of Tony Finau on this list so that I wouldn't butcher that one too.
Yeah, it's Finau, so there's a lot of what's going on there?
As far as I'm concerned, it's Fee now.
That's exactly right.
Finau. Hey now.
Phonetic is the way to go. What did you think of his round? You're the golfer here.
I thought it was about as good as you could expect. Look, the one thing about Tiger that people don't talk about a lot, he gets really nervous on the first tee. And he talked about that afterwards. I mean, and that first hole, by the way, he bogeyed. That first hole has been a nightmare for him. When they played the U.S. Open there in 2008, I think he was 7 over par on the first hole, including a couple of doubles, and that includes the bonus playoff round. So he played it 5 times. But I mean, that first hole is a nightmare for him. In fact, if you go back and look at his stats at Augusta, where he's won all those times, he's horrible on the first hole there. Tiger gets legitimate first tee nerves. So it's one thing to have, as we saw him do 3 rounds in the 60s at the Hero World Challenge, which is basically his glorified member guest.
Right.
This was a little bit of an uptick, and no blood, no foul is the way I'm looking at it.
Next thing here is make sure you make the cut.
Which he didn't do last year. Shot 76 in the second round. So we'll see what happens going forward. We'll get much more of that. Bob Herrick will join us at 9:30, our ESPN golf analyst, to talk about what he thought and what the expectations are going forward. I thought the iron play was a little rusty, which is why I think the putting, he probably was better than people thought because he was so far away from the hole. He made a lot of good lag putts.
Right.
A lot of good lag putts there. And I thought if he can get, he missed on a par 5, he missed a green on his third shot with a wedge and dumped it into a bunker. Just hit it fat.
Are you seriously? Well, what is he?
Yeah.
It's awful.
That's terrible.
I could do that.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens today. We'll have a lot more Tiger again later on.
Off the
I didn't know where to go when you said that.
I know.
NBA All-Star captains LeBron James and Steph Curry picked their teams on Thursday. James' selections, these are interesting, included ex-teammate Kyrie Irving, while Curry added Golden State teammates Klay Thompson and Draymond Green.
So we know that the first pick was Kevin Durant. We don't know anything other than that because they couldn't get a consensus amongst the players about televising this. So to me, it was pretty worthless that it was done this way. It's a shame because I think it would have been fun. All we know is Kevin Durant was first by LeBron James, who had the first pick. The stuff with Westbrook we'll get to is fantastic. But your starters, these were picked. Again, the only thing we know is Kevin Durant was first. The other starters for LeBron that he picked were Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, and Kyrie Irving. For Steph, he picked James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. Those are the starters for Team Steph to go against Team LeBron, and then they picked their reserves as well. But the Westbrook one of the reserves on the team for LeBron James, has one of the great stories, too.
We'll get into that, yeah.
You mean his underboob T-shirt?
No, not that. That was interesting. I didn't understand that shirt at all.
I need that to catch fire this year. That'd be big for someone that sweats in that area as much as I do. Get a little aeration in there.
Did you see that shirt, Trey? It was a shirt that now it had other holes in it up like by the shoulder.
Yeah, it looked like it was out of the Yeezy line.
But then it had a big hole in it right below.
Right there, yeah, a little under cleavage.
The man boob line.
Yeah, a little. Yeah.
It did. It looked like man cleavage. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it at all.
You know what? It's an acquired taste. It's one of those different looks in this situation. Going back to the actual All-Star team, though, real missed opportunity by Steph Curry. Not going out and grabbing Kevin Love. Steph had to worry about a bunch of different teammates. You knew they weren't all going to end up on the same team.
Well, there's a lot to get into that's eminently fascinating, but I'm told, wait a minute, we have breaking news. Let's go to our researcher, Brett. Brett, you have an update for us on something very significant.
Yeah, according to Merriam-Webster, the 3 acceptable pronunciations of that word. Number 1, and this is the most common, is assuage with a hard J.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2, assuage.
Assuage. Ooh, with a soft G almost.
Okay.
And number 3, assuage.
Oh,
Hey, congratulations on the bronze medal.
Wow. But
okay.
Congratulations on the bronze medal.
No,
wait,
that's fine.
Most importantly, this was not one of the accepted ways of saying that word.
Can be assuaged by a 15-yard
penalty.
That one is right out. That one is right out.
I'm going to text Greeny on that one.
Yeah, so
let's see that.
So again, you're in the ballpark. Congratulations.
Wow. You're on the medal stand.
I'm over here sporting gold.
Just take your loss, Trey.
You have been an acceptable third place.
You shot your shot and you missed. It's all right.
Wow.
You can go and play for Steph's All-Star team. I'll be on the winning team.
I feel pretty good about my situation. I just want to be clear about that.
That's fine, yeah. Take your assists and field goal percentage. I'll be over here dunking, blocking, and stealing.
Because that's what third place always does.
Wow. Off the top.
And we finish up. We'll continue, actually, with Off the Top. Actual things that actually happened and matter. Steph Curry's actual team, the Warriors, beat the Timberwolves 126-113 and scored 48 fast break points, their most in a game in the last 20 seasons.
Yeah, they outscored them 48-15 in fast breaks. The Warriors have 38 games where they've recorded 30 assists and 30 fast break points over the last 4 seasons, more than twice as many as the rest of the NBA. That's, we always talked about San Antonio, the way they moved the ball, the team played, especially when Duncan was there, the big fundamental, but how it was such a team game. Well, man, at Golden State, they move the ball around. They assist to one another. It's a great team to watch, and it also helps when you have 4 All-Stars on the same team to do it, too.
Yeah, it's an embarrassment. Again, we look at this situation, and for all the good that we talk about with the NBA, this team, we just kind of put them to the side because we understand it's over. There's nothing short of catastrophic injury that can shut this thing down. This team is unbelievable, and they remind us every once in a while when they really decide to go out there and give it their all, the things they're capable of are otherworldly. Yep.
They certainly are. And a reminder, Celtics-Warriors at 8:30 Eastern on ABC tomorrow, battle of the top teams in their respective conferences. Both teams have been in the zone this season. Brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. And we'll finish up off the top with this. The Cavs, losers of 6 of their last 7 games, trying to bounce back this evening with a brand new lineup, Mike, as they take on the Pacers at 7:30 Eastern.
Well, you wondered what was going to happen in the lineup, and it turns out Jay Crowder is going to the bench. Kevin Love's going to move over to forward, and Tristan Thompson is back on to play in the middle. This lineup only played together one time. This 5-man lineup had played one game this year, January 11th at Toronto. Cleveland lost by 34. So I think I'll go more with what Tim Legler said. It doesn't matter. The players you're putting on the court, it's how they're playing right now. And it seems a lot of them need, especially on the defensive end, as we keep saying, to look in the mirror. But the players, doesn't matter who they are, but it's how they're playing.
Yeah, and Tristan Thompson in particular was such a catalyst for them when this team first came together. That was why he was a guy that was in line for such a big payday, because coming off those first couple of seasons, he was invaluable to this team as an offensive rebounder and as a paint presence in a league that shifted away from the traditional big. So if they can get him back to some of that form that they brought, maybe that's the spark. Maybe that's enough, especially on the defensive end where they've been so lackluster.
Well, to sort of paraphrase what Legler said the other day, world be free, Mark Price ain't walking through that door. Brad Daugherty ain't walking through that door. And maybe those are some of the Cavs they need to try and turn this thing around. Okay, that was off the top, and that takes us seamlessly to the next topic, which was the draft of the teams in the NBA and how it went down for the All-Star game. And by the way, they all agreed. LeBron said it afterwards, Mike. He agreed with you. Things should have been televised.
Yeah,
that would have made it much more fun. The only thing we know is that Durant was the number one pick.
Yeah, well, and we know Al Horford was last.
Yeah, we do not know that.
No, I mean
we do not know that.
We probably know
Listen,
that, right?
I don't want to have to assuage any more of your takes, so I do not know that.
And the reason we didn't is the Basketball Players Association said players could not reach a consensus, and it therefore was not broadcast. That all I got to say is, hey guys, lighten up, okay?
Lighten up, Francis.
Lighten up, Francis. You call me Francis, I kill you. Lighten up, guys. I mean, come on. This could have been so much fun. And now, again, all we know is Durant was first, Horford was last, and then everything in between.
Okay, stop with we don't know that.
No, we
don't know that.
I feel like we can be pretty
sure.
We
deal in facts.
You reverse engineer enough of this, and you can go through and I think kind of figure out based on the way this went, knowing Kevin Durant was first, Giannis was probably first on Steph's team, Kyrie was probably first on LeBron's team after that. Then you go James Harden. You can go down on the list and get a pretty good idea of where this all was. Kevin Love is the linchpin for me.
You're just making guesses.
Steph could have ruined things for the Cavs. Steph, I really have to question his killer instinct going forward. The mental warfare it would have been to steal Kevin Love early from this so that LeBron's one teammate in the All-Star team wasn't on his team after all the controversy they've been through. That's how you finally break your enemy. You know, in the Batman movie, when Bane says, I'll break your body, then I'll break your mind, then you have my permission to die. Yeah. That would have been that moment for Steph, and he's ruined it.
So you're saying he didn't read The Art of War by Sun Tzu?
No, clearly not. Yeah, he's clearly underestimated the ability of his enemy.
Okay, a couple of things that were really fascinating about this. First of all, Russell Westbrook. Okay, they put out the list of who went there, and apparently he was very upset because the way the list was put out there, he thought he was the last pick for Team LeBron.
Thoughts on being picked by LeBron for the All-Star team?
Oh, that's cool, man. That's good, man. Finally, they got the team figured out.
Tell me how you really feel.
But I see I was the last pick on the list. I was just trying to figure out,
alphabetical. It was alphabetical.
See, I told you, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Alphabetical order, man. Of course I was first.
He thought he was the last pick. That was Carmelo Anthony, by the way. Right. So tell him how you really feel.
That is the best, because here's how the reserves are, and notice how they're laid out. LaMarcus Aldridge,
A.
Bradley Beal,
B.
Kevin Love,
L.
Victor Oladipo,
O.
Kristaps Porzingis,
P.
John Wall,
W.A.
Russell Westbrook,
W.E.
He thought he was the last pick of the draft, and it was ticked because he was saying all the right things, and as Trey just said, Carmelo yelled out, tell him how you really feel. So they obviously had discussed that before that he was mad that he was the last pick, and they told him it was alphabetical. Well, that is gold right there.
But see, that's the thing, is enough of this stuff has leaked out. Like, KD couldn't wait to tell everyone. Surprise, surprise that KD was picked first. Also, we all kind of had to do the collective eye roll when KD came out there and said it's going to be fun to compete against Steph and Clay and Draymond. Like, oh, word, now it is?
Yeah.
Now it's fun to compete against those guys?
Like it wasn't when you had to try and beat them?
Yeah,
but you know what also the fun is of that? We're talking about Russell Westbrook not being the last pick on LeBron's team. which has Kevin Durant on that team.
Well, not
Kevin
only
Durant and Westbrook teammates.
Not only that, one of the real interesting ones, LeBron took Kyrie Irving on his team. LeBron, thoughts on Kyrie?
I just try to pick the best available players, to be able to team up back with Kyrie. It's always special, along with Kevin Love, just, for us to have another weekend to bring back some of the memories that we had when we were all together. So, Kyrie was available on the draft board. He's one of the best point guards that we have in our league. So it was an easy choice for me.
All right, let's just call what it is. This pick tells you what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
Next year, LeBron James is a Celtic.
Oh,
let's just be clear about that.
Hot take.
That's exactly. I'm channeling my Stu guys.
Hot take.
That's what's happening. I mean, just embrace it. Embrace it.
The thought had always been LeBron still wants to obviously make it to the finals, and his best way to be in the East. So we thought it would be on Cleveland, but now it's not.
No.
Go to the Celtics.
Look, go to the Celtics. You're telling me that you don't think LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum, you don't think that team's the best team in the East?
You getting rid of Al Horford?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh. He's a year and a half younger than LeBron.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I was shocked by that.
Just so you know,
LeBron's
we're all thinking maybe he goes to L.A.
You think they trade him for Horford straight up?
I'm telling you right now, he's telling you what he's going to do. He is telling you what he's going to do.
Oh, that's
LeBron James will be a Celtic next year.
The hot take. I like that. Quite honestly, would seriously be the best team in the East.
Wouldn't it? And the best way to get back to the finals.
They would walk to the finals.
Well, they'd have to go through Philadelphia.
Well, they'd trust the process in that situation.
There you go. Yeah. Exactly.
Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there.
Wow.
Just if you're reading the tea leaves.
I kind of like that when you're setting up teams.
Yeah.
That would be a team.
You know what's amazing?
Ultimate bridge builder, LeBron James.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's amazing in all of this is that's all become such a headline that none of us are focused on the fact that Russ and KD are back on a team together.
Yeah.
Like, what's that dynamic going to be like in that locker room for two guys that we talk about LeBron and Kyrie having sort of subtle issues with each other? It's a little more back-channeled. KD and Russ was very much out on Front Street.
They were on the same NBA team last year.
So the first time it happened last year. So this is the second time it's happening. So you wonder if they worked through it a little bit.
But it was strong. Yeah. It was strong.
Yeah.
I didn't want to assuage that take for us. That was really good.
Assuage.
A sausage.
One more time with emphasis.
Can be assuaged by a 15-yard penalty.
There you go.
Not one of the accepted definitions.
I would have thought that was the correct way to say it, any way to say it, because I always thought it was a sausage.
I think I take the Merritt Parkway and go through the town of Assuage
sometimes
when I'm on my way into the city.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Trey Wingo and Mike Golic Sr.
Real quickly, for the rest of the time, my son Mike is on the show. When you see him, he has made his shirt to look like Russell Westbrook's shirt.
Kind of. Maybe.
It is bordering offensive.
I mean, it's pretty hot. There's just a little more.
Stop it. Just stop it.
Again, a little more brown sugar on there than he had necessarily.
If you see what Mike says, just
a lot of the same definition, though, right here in like the pec region.
I would just like to say, for those of you listening and not viewing,
there's man cleavage.
Yeah, for those of you listening, you're winning right now.
You are, but you're
winning.
Certainly, we will post it. I'm sure Allie's going to post a side by side of Mike and Russell Westbrook in their respective shirts of showing their man cleavage.
I know everyone's probably asking. It's decline bench. That's the secret. Yeah. That's how you get a lot of the cuts right in this region.
Literally.
I'm just hoping I don't pop a nip out.
Hey,
I don't know.
All right.
Is that allowed? I was going to say, like, are we allowed to do that? I know, like, Instagram has weird rules about nipples.
Steering it on track.
What do we have
We're going
about
back
nipples?
On track. We're moving along.
We were just doing so good, man. We were assuaging and assuaging.
We were. And now you're nipping.
Yeah, and nipping a little bit.
And now we're moving.
I'm telling you, ready to move on.
It does aerate nicely. Like, it cools down. And this is a region I sweat a lot.
Congratulations. You're now a putting green. Wonderful. All right. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Don't forget, we're going to grill Golic and try Trey today.
Yes, we are.
So send in your questions. Hashtag try Trey. Hashtag grill Golic.
Oh, we're going to do a lot.
We'll get to
those. And remember, Trey threw out the hot take of LeBron to the Boston Celtics. We're running with it.
I immediately regret that decision.
No, it's a fantastic.
Tell me that wasn't the first thing you thought of.
Who else is having that take? LeBron wants to win championships. He needs to get to the finals. What's his easiest path? It's going to be on the Celtics.
Tell me. Yes. That makes sense, right? It makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Let's just
throw
that on the fire.
Yeah, why not?
Let's just put a little kerosene on that bonfire in the backyard.
Let's let that percolate, huh?
Let's go ahead and pop the bottom off these shirts. Let's do it.
We have to wait and see what happens there, but we also have to wait and see what happens with what was announced yesterday.
Yes.
Vince McMahon saying the XFL is coming back in 2 years, in 2020. It will be an 8-team league. They'll play 10 games in a season. In the announcement, Vince McMahon promised that the game would be safer and it would be faster, about 2 hours in length, with providing, zero details on how the game would be safer or how it would be faster. So I want to get your first gut reaction, Mike, because we all lived through the XFL the first time. Your thoughts on XFL, the sequel, and what we know, or more precisely don't know about.
See, here's the deal. I want it to work. A, I love football, and B, there are not enough outlets for players to play, and Mike, you'll be able to talk on this as part of that in missing a couple times, being like on the last cut for NFL teams, and then basically, you went in the FXFL, the Montreal up in the Canadian League, but there's just not those leagues for more players who have a chance because there are other good players out there. So I love the fact that other players will get a chance to play. So I wanted to work in the same time frame of February to April as they did last time. But, man, I don't know. I mean, the draw was it was going to be loud. It was going to be violent. It was going to be different. And it was a monster first week rating. Cut that in half the second week, and then it went in the toilet the rest of the way. So even that draw, so now he's going completely the other way in Vince McMahon and saying it's not going to be as violent. If you have a record at all of arrest, you're not playing in this league. Even a DUI, you're not playing. You're going to stand for the national anthem, and and it's going to be good football in a shorter window. Again, I hope it works because I want players to have opportunities, but I heard you say it this morning. I almost put a better percentage on this league never even getting off the ground, let alone being successful.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how this is going to benefit Vince McMahon personally in the immediacy, but I have to imagine there's got to be some sort of financial benefit for him just getting this sort of up and going, getting the conversation starting around it, because I really don't think there's much of a chance either. And the difference is, so you talked about the FXFL was a league I was a part of, and we've seen spring leagues, We've seen these other ones that usually understand their place. And they say, all right, we're not going to compete with the NFL. We want to be a feeder. We understand that the guys that get cut, that are hanging around there, want a way to keep playing football, but ultimately want to get back in there.
Right.
Vince McMahon came out and said, we're not interested in being a feeder league. We're not interested in being a developmental league for the NFL. So what you're saying then is you want to be a competitor, but you want to be a competitor not doing things that are different. Besides, the obvious, really easy political overplays of, giving the people that don't want to hear opinions from their athletes that different from their own a chance and a place to go. That's really the only difference, because if you're not going to make it more violent, which is something that a lot of people who call football in its current form soft are going to want, that they're not going to get there. You're not going to get the quality of players. You're not going to have the money to throw at them. You're not going to have the facilities or anything else, I'd imagine, to put in front of these guys. So what do you really have but watered down football in a world where it already seems like people think it's oversaturated the market anyway?
Well, see, this to me speaks to the brilliance of Vince McMahon, because calling this league the XFL is actually a complete disservice to what the XFL was. You alluded to it. Okay, they had cheerleaders in the stands with fans, and we're going to scrum for the football, and until a guy threw out his shoulder trying to get to the ball. Basically, the XFL as it was the outlaws, the rebels, we don't care, no rules, all this kind of stuff. And what does Vince do? He sees that there's a backlash now against some of the things that are going on in the NFL. He wants it to be family friendly. He wants it to be not politicized at all. The players will stand for the. He's basically He's judging the temperature and thinking, I think there's a niche audience out there that will go to this. So on that part, I give him genius marks for understanding what some people are clamoring for. But at the end of the day, if the football isn't good, it won't freaking matter.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And he's not competing with the NFL from a standpoint of when they're going to play. They're going to play again from February to April, so that'll be NBA, the NCAA tournament, hockey that's going on as well. So that's the competitive side of it. But we can talk about all the good reasons of maybe why this can work, because I'll say it again, I want it to work. But at the end, I don't think the football will be good enough. We're going to sit there and say it's going to be watered down talent. It's not NFL talent. But I know someone will say, well, wait a minute. We all love college football, and that's not NFL talent. Only 1% of college players make it to the NFL, yet we watch college. Yes, we do, because of the college affiliation and the love for college. These are guys who are not branded with a college anymore, and he can say all he wants, Vince McMahon, about we're not going to be an NFL feeder league. But Mike, you know this. If you played in this league, what would you be trying to do?
Well, that's exactly right. You'd be trying to get back to the NFL.
You're trying to get back to the league. So let me ask this of you. So you were cut 3 times, 2 times on the last cut. You went and played in Canada. You went and played in this FXFL for the Brooklyn Bolts. Won the championship, by the way.
Congratulations.
You
Undefeated.
were the Arizona Rattlers had your rights, but you decided not to play for them. If this was around the time you were doing your thing to try and get to the NFL, would you have jumped into this?
Oh, yeah, I likely would have been desperate enough to do this because, I mean, that's what it's preying on. It's guys that are looking for any way. And as someone who lived in a Holiday Inn Express in Staten Island for 5 months out of a fall at one point, it's amazing what you're willing to do to try and keep chasing that dream. But the difference is, at some point, it's got to be a realistic option. And you saw the cracks when we were in the middle of that season in the fall because it takes so much to make a league successful. It's not just, well, we've got 8 teams and a 10-game schedule and we've got a playoff set up. It's, all right, well, do you have trainers? What's the health insurance? What's the health care situation going to look like? How is the Players Association going to be associated with or attack this? How do you protect the players that are trying to get back into this? How do you make sure that guys are compensated? How do you just make sure that the day-to-day as far as having people there to tape and get guys ready for practice are all put in place? Those are the things that I saw slip through the cracks, and those are the things that I have to imagine as this goes on. And Vince McMahon is privately funding this, and I get that he's a guy who's worth, $1.5 billion or so like that, but it's a difference when you have to fund this into something that there's no guarantee because you don't control the product the way he does in the WWE.
No, players actually play the game.
Yes.
It's not a predetermined outcome, as you were saying earlier on your show. Lots to get into there, including the one thing that you really think that you like, Mike, about the XFL, which really will not be any way like the old XFL, except that the letters, the XFL, are there, should it actually ever come to fruition.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast.
What a day, what a show, what a time.
I tell you what, a great sports night last night. No doubt about it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We're going to do a little try-tray and grill Golic today. You ready for that?
I am ready for that.
Okay.
I love being grilled, and I love trying Trey because those are the fun questions. It was, about anything. That people ask you about anything. They did the same thing with Greeny, ask about anything, where I'll get the football questions, but I kind of like the food questions or the clothing questions or...
By the way, I think I've worn these same jeans 4 days in a row. I just want to be clear about that.
Well, I beat you. I wore these jeans 5 days in a row.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, who's seeing my jeans anymore?
That's why this
Wait till
works,
we're wearing shorts. As soon as this weather breaks...
Flip-flop Fridays, baby.
Are you kidding me?
Flip-flop Fridays.
Thong Thursday?
Okay, no.
I mean, absolutely.
No. Line in the sand.
Yeah.
No. We just had your son ventilating his whatever, and now you're talking about this.
Under man boobs. Thong and oil. That's what I'm looking at.
People are eating.
Wear the thong.
People are eating.
Oil up. Listen, I've oiled up before and had a picture taken with no clothes on and a bow in my butt.
There it is. Okay, we're moving on. People are trying to digest food.
Talking about
what's trending.
Can you see
stop it. Just stop that now. Approximately 400 Super Bowl prop bets have been posted in Las Vegas. 400, Mike. Now, you really enjoyed this part.
Love this. I absolutely love all the, and we're going to get to some of them that they're really, you have your how long is the national anthem going to be, which to me is a lock for the person singing the national anthem to tell all their friends to go ahead and make some money.
Right.
Because they're the ones that know how long it's going to be, the first touchdown and who's going to throw it, who's going to be the MVP.
Heads or tails.
They have some really good I'll just give you one, but off the sports, off the Super Bowl bets or kind of connected. The total number of gold medals in the Winter Olympics for the U.S. That they get, and as opposed to the total number of points in the first quarter.
Of the Super Bowl?
Of the Super Bowl. Well, let me just say this.
Yeah.
The last Winter Olympics in Sochi, we had 9 gold medals.
Okay.
So that would be the number. Will there be 9 total points in the first quarter, of which, again, the New England Patriots had scored zero points in the first. So that's what makes it great.
Yeah.
9 points.
In the Brady-Belichick era, they have not scored a single point in the first quarter of any of their Super Bowls.
That's a bet. How great is that? Gold medals for the U.S. Again, they had 9 in 2014, so we'll see what they get here. And total first quarter points. That's awesome.
Well, that's the thing that makes these prop bets. And when we get to Minneapolis next week, we'll have more fun with it. There's so many of them, so many different ways you can go. But I really appreciate the creativity. Sometimes with
I'm
these
with
prop
you.
bets.
Love it.
I would have loved to know what are the odds if you just said, yeah, Nick Foles will be starting in the Super Bowl for the season.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a lottery ticket.
Yeah, you'd rain.
That's a lottery ticket. You know who thought he wasn't handed a lottery ticket? Russell Westbrook. He was very salty after thinking he was the last pick in the NBA All-Star draft. He scored 46 points in the Thunder's 121-112 win over the Wizards. But, the list came out that he was on LeBron's team, and his name was last. And he did not take it well.
No, he did not. Do we have it now? Can we go?
Do we have the sound?
We got to hang on to it, I guess. Yeah. This snuck up on him. I'm
confused.
Well, we're actually going to play it. We're going to let you. Russell, again, he saw this list before his game.
Is this network time filling right now?
And he was mad because he felt it was the last pick. Scored 46 in the game. Had a great game.
But just the reserves. Let's go through it again. These are how the reserves were announced: LaMarcus Aldridge, Bradley Beal, Kevin Love, Victor Oladipo, Kristaps Porzingis, John W.A. Wall, and Russell W.E. Westbrook.
So you know where we're going with this thing of why it's listed that way. But Russell Westbrook, he didn't really kind of get that in the beginning. Oh, hey, this is working out well. Hey, TV! We do this all the time!
Here we go. Russell Westbrook.
Smokes.
Thoughts on being picked by LeBron for the All-Star team?
Oh, that's cool, man. That's good, man. Finally, they got the teams figured out.
How do you really feel?
But I see I was the last pick on the list. I was just trying to figure out,
Alphabetical.
It was alphabetical.
See, I told you, man. Alphabetical order, man. Of course I was first.
By the way, that was Carmelo Anthony. Tell him how you really feel.
I love
Tell
that.
him how you really feel.
Which means they obviously had discussed this, and Russell was mad about it, but he had an inkling it was alphabetical, and it was, and he was told that. So, but then he said, "I told you I was first." Kevin Durant. The only thing we know is Kevin Durant was the first pick of this draft when they were picking the starters. LeBron picked Kevin Durant. After that, we don't know, and I think. I agree. You said it earlier. I think even the players realize they blew it.
Yeah,
the players got all kind of, feelings hurt thing, and they didn't want it public. They didn't want this on TV. They didn't want it public because they thought, some feelings are going to get hurt. And I think they realized that was just a ridiculous thought. Have some fun with this thing. It would have been fun. The NHL had fun with this thing for years when they did it. So they absolutely blew it. It's a great idea because you're always looking to mix things up a little bit, and they blew it by not televising
The
it.
best part of that exchange with Westbrook and Carmelo is it probably went down like this in the locker room. He's like, man, that's got to be alphabetical, right? I couldn't be last. No, man, I think you got disrespected. No, man, they're slighting you, man. So then he's like, yeah, I'm angry. Yeah. And then they get him to say that, and it's like, of course it's alphabetical. And they totally set him up there.
Oh, yeah.
That's how that went down that entire situation. And there's a lot more. We'll get into those selections and what they mean a little bit later. And we knew this was coming, Mike. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure this will be on Dan Le Batard's show today, and it'll be continued. The Marlins continue to get rid of everybody. Christian Yelich became the fourth starting position player from the 2017 team to be traded away by the Marlins.
Listen, I mean, it's a fire sale. Basically, Derek Jeter said they were going to drop the payroll down, I think, between $85 and $90 million. And the only way you're doing that is getting rid of money guys. So while it shouldn't be a shock, I get why Dan and everybody down in Miami who's a fan of that team are mad because you were told it wouldn't happen. But I have to believe anybody, I don't know this for a fact, but anybody that was going to take over that team wasn't going to add to that salary.
Nope.
Maybe they would have kept Stanton. I have no idea. But it seemed like that was the way for this team to kind of rebuild, is to take a step back. It was just a matter of how big of a step back that they were going to take. But I get why the people in Miami are tired of it, because it happens over and over and over again. When is the positive going to come from this? So good luck again continuing to try to fill that stadium.
Well, that's going to be the issue going forward. I mean, sure, maybe 4 years from now the team will be in better financial situations, but is anybody going to the games? That's right. The thing. And Dan, who, when we saw this happen with Stanton and everybody else, rightly outraged. And
yeah.
It's just, they've been through this far too many times.
So
We've seen this movie before.
So this is happening now. So the question then will be is how quickly can you start to see, now you're seeing all the negatives. So how quickly can you see some of the positives that will keep the fans to stay the fans?
All right. So that was what's trending. Don't forget, here's what's coming up later on. Dan Quinn head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, who is uniquely qualified to talk about both of these teams in the Super Bowl. We'll get to him. Mike Vrabel, new head coach, who has one of the great new of the Titans, has one of the greatest statistical lines in the history of football. We will grill him about that. Howie Long, who had a great moment, the Hall of Famer, 3 generations on the field in the NFC Championship game in Philadelphia last Sunday. We'll talk to him about what it means to see his son play in a second straight Super Bowl. And Bob Herrick will join us in the last hour as Tiger back on the PGA Tour, his first official round in a year with an even par 72. We have that, but first something else.
Yeah, let's take care of our cars a little better, huh? If your car breaks down after the manufacturer's warranty expires, you could be out of pocket thousands having to fix it. That's why we recommend getting extended coverage from CarShield.com. New engine, new tranny is going to cost you thousands of dollars. Your dealer or any ASE certified mechanic can do the repair, and CarShield gets them paid directly. Save yourself thousands in potential car repairs by calling 800-CAR-6100 and mention Golic or visit CarShield.com. Use the code Golic, save yourself 10%. That's CarShield.com. The code is Golic. A deductible may apply.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
We're going to do this.
We're doing Try Trey, where you're sending in
It's time to Try Trey.
Sorry, Christine.
There you go.
It's my fault there. So we're questions. We also have more questions coming in from you guys to Try Trey.
Absolutely. Brought to you by Discover Card, who will match all the cash back new card members earn at the end of their first years. Learn more at discover.com/match. Most importantly, limitations apply.
There you go.
Okay, hit me.
All right, I'm going to try you, Trey. Which of the following all-star draft picks by LeBron surprised you most? Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love.
Well, I think Kevin Love was an olive branch. I love you, buddy.
Right.
We're in this together. Let's go. But I think we all know where I'm going here. He picks Kyrie Irving.
Yes, he does. What does that mean?
It means he's going to be a Boston Celtic in the 2018-2019 season. I think that's pretty clear.
What's the easiest way for LeBron James to get to the finals outside of joining the Golden State Warriors?
Oh, make the best team in the East, baby.
Yes, which would be?
The Boston Celtics with Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Jason Tatum, a healthy Gordon Hayward.
We have 1,000,000 6'7", 6'8" guys on that team, but so what?
Or we're getting all kinds of people in. I've seen LeBron in the Massachusetts area. I've seen him buy 4 luxury homes at Cape Cod.
That's it.
We are throwing gas on this fire.
Why not?
That's the one I see.
LeBron,
he's going to be a Boston Celtic.
I'm with you. I am all on this hot take with you until somebody really, really with a lot of smarts
says no way,
and then I'm jumping off your bandwagon.
You know what? I will follow you on that down that rat hole. Absolutely.
But right now, I love it.
We're all in. LeBron, chips to the middle of the table.
LeBron and Green next year. All right, here we go.
All right, what's up?
Which NBA All-Star team do you think is better, Team LeBron or Team Steph?
I think I'm going to have to go. I think I'm going to go with Team LeBron. I think I like Team LeBron, and I think I like Team LeBron not so much for the players, but what the players represent. Our great researcher here, Brett, you want to explain how you came up with the nickname for Team LeBron, Team Reunion?
Yeah. So if you look at the Team LeBron roster, you have a bunch of guys who are coming back to each other after a little time off. So a lot of this centers around Russell Westbrook.
Of course.
So you have Kevin Durant coming back to be with Russell Westbrook.
Right.
You got Victor Oladipo coming back to be with Russell Westbrook.
Right.
You got Kevin Love, his college teammate, coming back to be with Russell Westbrook.
Like it.
Both at UCLA. Okay.
You got John Wall and Boogie coming back together.
Kentucky.
You got the whole Cavs big 3 from previous years coming back together with Kyrie. There's a lot of reunions going on.
Wow. Okay, I do like that. Team reunion.
Yeah, team reunion. And also Victor Oladipo back with Kevin Durant as well, right?
That's what he said.
Yeah, he did say that? I was listening to the cough button. We got to fix you the cough button.
Yeah.
Every time you cough, hit the cough button, and then the won't come out.
As far as who has the edge, the All-Star teams, Team LeBron's team is the edge in points, rebounds, blocks, steals, and dunks. Team Curry is better in assists, field goal percentage, three-point field goal percentage, real plus-minus as opposed to the fake plus-minus, and win shares. I don't even know what fake plus-minus is.
There you go. It's war.
Onward we go.
Yeah, what's up?
All right, trying Trey.
Yep.
Tiger Woods had an opening round, even par 72 at the Farmers Insurance. What did you see that was encouraging, and what did you see that was discouraging?
Well, I think the encouraging thing was he was swinging free and easy. You know, there didn't seem to be a lot of tension, and I think there was a one-way miss. The worst thing you can be in a golfer, especially off the tee, if you're playing Army golf. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Most of his misses were out to the right. So that's something, if you know that, you can correct
Fix it.
If you're hooking it and you're slicing it, that's a problem. So I think that was one of the most encouraging things was there was one miss, and it was to the right. And the fact that he was swinging the driver free and easy. At one point, he drilled one. I mean, Charlie Hoffman's one of the biggest hitters on tour out there. And when he squared up that driver, I think it was on 16 or 17, I can't remember, he pumped it 30 yards past Charlie Hoffman. So the fact that the driver was working decently, I think, was the most encouraging thing. The most discouraging thing, his irons weren't sharp.
Right.
And normally, I mean, he almost had a hole in one, which was one of his best swings, but his irons weren't the laser-like precision we've come to expect. On a par 5, I think it was 13, he had a sand wedge or a wedge, and he dumped it fat into a bunker. I mean, Tiger's not going to miss many greens, especially on a par 5 with a wedge in his hand. But that's the stuff that comes back in being competitive much more than the Hero World Challenge, which was basically his member guest. So I think his iron play was a little discouraging, but the fact that he seemed to be not worried about, because Jason Day was playing yesterday with back pain, and you could see he was laboring.
Yeah, he was.
Every swing was difficult. None of that sort of manifested itself for Tiger, and if you've had back surgeries, that was the most encouraging thing.
My game is left, right, and I feel more beer takes care of it for me.
Well, then you can walk it off aerobically because you're going left and right.
There you go. All right, we're going to try Trey again. If Vince McMahon called you and asked for advice on the XFL, what one suggestion would you give him to help make it work?
Look, I don't know if it can work. I'd like
but
it to
work. We're
work.
going to say it's going to work. You got to give him something positive that's going to help.
Make sure it's about the football. Because at the end of the day, all this other stuff is great, but if the football isn't any good, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. You will catch people initially.
Right.
Like they did the last time around when the ratings were through the roof for week 1, and then they were halved by week 2. If the football isn't good, none of the other ancillary stuff matters. And, you know, they tried the whole Rebel thing last time with the way he screamed this.
Right.
Don't press the...
This is the
You know,
that was pretty cool.
It was great, and it got people fired up, and then the cheerleaders were in the stands, and they were the rebels, and at the end of the day, the football wasn't very good.
Right.
And that was the problem. So if you want to make it work, forget, I know you're all about the marketing, and all that stuff is wonderful, but if the product on the field isn't what people expect from professional football, it's not going to work. It's that simple.
All right, here's one I know is going to rile you up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What's your response to Rockets GM Daryl Morey, who tweeted the following... Morey, I'm sorry. I was so Morey.
We'll assuage that word. Don't worry about it.
I assuaged that. This is what he tweeted out. I know you're going to love this.
Okay.
TikTok. It's just a matter of time before the NFL is basically irrelevant as a sport. No global base. No one plays anymore.
Hey, Daryl, you might want to look at this thing called TV ratings, because of the 100 top viewed shows in the United States in 2017, 81 of them were sporting events. 64 of them were NFL games. And of the top 10 shows viewed in 2017, NFL had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. The only other one in the top 10 was the Oscars. So this is a neat little theory, and it's cute, and it's wonderful, and the ratings for the NBA are up.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely up.
But call me when you get the numbers for a playoff game that most NFL regular season games get. So are there issues with the NFL? Absolutely.
Yes, there are.
Are fewer people playing it? Absolutely. Is it still the surest bet in television? Absolutely. So, look, I don't know if we're ever going to see something that had the dominance, say, of 5 years ago of the NFL,
right,
in terms of our fascination with the sport and the ratings in the sport. And that's a fair argument, and it's perfectly true. But that's ridiculous.
Listen,
it's ridiculous.
I agree with you. And the numbers were down in the Little League, and they're getting back to being back up again.
Correct.
They're still dealing, obviously, with things in football that we know about to try and keep the younger players playing. But, you know, our own Jalen Rose, we've had this discussion before. He thinks that basketball surpassed football. I believe he does, and I couldn't disagree more. The ratings are going up in basketball, and they're going down in football. Football is still the most popular sport out there. And as far as not being global, it never was global.
It's never been
global.
And
NFL is never going to be global.
No,
they're
won't.
going to try, I get it, but it's not going to be global. Certainly nowhere near like basketball, baseball, or hockey is global, especially basketball and hockey.
It is not. We're not saying that there aren't issues with the NFL, and we're not saying that the NBA isn't trending in the right direction.
Right.
Both of those things are true, but the idea that this is going away anytime soon, That's just a false narrative.
Yep.
It's a false narrative.
Last one. What was your favorite Pro Bowl event last night? There were a couple different things you could have looked at. You had from the Pro Bowl, they played dodgeball, they played kick-tack-toe, best hands, gridiron gauntlet, precision passing, and also, I believe it was on CBS, they had the talent competition, right?
Yeah.
That was on last night as well from football players, top talent from football players.
Yeah.
So from the Pro Bowl and or the top talent, what did you like?
I love dodgeball because it's just, it's basic. Our guys against your guys, a sport that everyone grew up playing, and to see them sort of go back to the inner child, it was great. I love the dodgeball.
I love dodgeball.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I liked last year. I don't think they didn't have it this year when they had the ball up on the drone drop.
Yeah.
I kind of like that as well, but I would go with dodgeball. Oh, I would like them initially to throw a wrench because if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
That's exactly
as we all
right.
know. But the talent competition, let's hear that the winner was Justin Tucker. He sang. Jonathan Stewart played the piano. Kevin Zeitler, the big old lineman for the Browns, had his dog and did dog tricks.
Did you ever play an instrument?
I piano lessons growing up, and then you stop.
Yeah, me too.
As you go on, as you know, you get busy doing things, and then just like, oh man, I wish I'd have kept doing that. Because as I've always said, athletes want to be entertainers, and entertainers want to be athletes. So you always wish you stuck with what you were doing when you were a kid. But that's impressive.
It really is.
Tucker and Stewart, and then as I said, Kevin Zeitler did dog tricks with his dog. Which
offensive lineman, be who you
fun.
are.
There you go.
He did dog tricks, and your son cut a hole in his shirt. So that's who they are. By the way, CBS with both of those clips with Justin Tucker and Jonathan Stewart. You're right. I played a bunch of instruments as a kid, and I regret I couldn't do any of it now. I mean, it would be like
would love to be able to just grab it and start playing it. Wouldn't it be fantastic?
Right now, me sitting down at a piano, it would be like playing with oven mitts.
Yeah,
it would be like. Yeah. It would be all over the place. Yeah. It would be terrible. Oh, they're telling me I got to go.
Okay.
Stanza,
see ya.
Let's go.
Have a good morning.
All right, see you. Stanza, give me the wrap-up sign, too. Oh, all right, big boy. Let's take our time and enjoy this for a moment. Yeah. No, coming up, not many people know the Super Bowl teams better than our next guest, whose last two playoff losses were to the Patriots in the Super Bowl last year and the Eagles this year.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast.
It was all sort of one big, giant Jell-O mold. It's very interesting where that went.
And Dan, as we welcome you in, I want you to know something personally from Golic and myself.
You did the radio right there?
No, we did not do that. That was not us. Our guys behind the glass, including Dan Stanzik, they're sadistic people.
Yes.
They're terrible people. So I just want you to know we had nothing to do with that, but we are glad you are joining us this morning.
Yeah, I'm glad to be on with you too, and as this matchup goes, two number one seeds, two teams are both 13-3, and having that number one seed, you got to go battle for it. You get to play at home, but both these teams really established, they earned it, and when you only play two postseason games, you feel really fresh and ready to roll. I'm sure they do.
All right, Dan, we're all about honesty on this show. So in that situation, if Julio Jones doesn't fall down on the out route, does he catch the touchdown pass? I think he would have. I think you guys would have won that game. Do you feel the same way?
We do, and but that's the life of a competitor, Mike. You know that. So you battle for it, and generally doesn't come down to one. But when it comes to that moment, we trust him 1,000% in that spot to go make it happen. But when it doesn't, you tip your hat and you move on. But it's definitely one that you want to have back and your chances. That's not the life we live.
Just from that perspective, then, before we get into the Super Bowl, how difficult is it in the locker room after that game? Because once you get to those playoffs and it's win, everybody's expecting to win and go on. Lose the next day, you're actually going to your locker and packing it up, knowing your team is going to be different next year. It happens every single year. So what was it like in that locker room?
Is as fun as it is when you get in and get to play and go win. The locker rooms after playoff wins are so much fun, but the losses are that much harder, and so it definitely lingers longer. In the regular season, you better reset really quickly because there's another game that you better get right back into the present moment to go play and get again. When the playoffs, when you lose, you don't have that opportunity. There's a lot of second guessing and what call could we have done different. You just go deeper down to that spot. But at the end of it, you know how much fun it is, Mike, playing in the playoffs, and you love the battle for it. But yeah, it's harder in the locker room for sure.
Falcons head coach Dan Quinn with us, and we're glad he is. You know, one thing you talk about how hard it is. A lot of people, once they lose the Super Bowl, they won't look at the tape. Herm Edwards, who used to work for us, said ever since he lost, he never watched another Super Bowl because he didn't want to be a part of it unless he played in another one. You've sort of taken the opposite approach. You've watched last year's Super Bowl, 10 times now?
I watched it a bunch, and just what are you going to learn from it? That's kind of the mindset that I took, Trey, to say, all right, could I look at it from another point of view, a different perspective to learn where they go. You really don't get to learn those moments until you're back in them again, and so that's why you want to go back and grow from it. Our team this year, you have to battle, and there's some resiliency and toughness that comes with going through that and coming out the other side. So that's why I am so excited about our group. Over the last 3 years, I feel like we've worked to establish a base camp where we don't go back down to the bottom of the mountain for the off season. You go back to a spot where you're going to go put it in again, work hard as hell to give yourself a chance to play really well, during the regular season. So you get a chance, both like New England and Philadelphia this year, where those number one seeds and home playoff games, those are awesome. You get to share those experiences, with the fans, with the team, and it's a lot of fun.
So we all saw, obviously, and you watched it, as you said many times, what New England did to come back in that game, and we know they've done that before. So as you were watching the AFC title game, like all of us were watching, at what point did you, like all of us at one point, went, oh boy, it's going to happen again?
Yeah, they have just such a knack. They're very comfortable as a team in that role in the second half or a 2-minute at the half. And those are the ones they've just got terrific poise in those moments. And I think situationally they've shown they're the very best at that in terms of owning those moments. When you look at just the stats from both teams, Mike, both teams are really good in the red zone. I'm sure they're both in the top 5. And usually when you're really good in the red zone, you're scoring offenses too. And then both their defenses, are near the top 5 or in the top 5. So that's why I think this is a hell of a game. Both teams earned it, battled for it, and they're not one-dimensional in any way. Both teams have really rock-solid offenses that, kind of, in my opinion, highlighted by really good red zone play. And then both defenses, although the style is different, that's true with a lot of teams. And their styles are different, but they're both really effective. And then I'd say the last part is both teams, and you know this, when you're in the plus in the turnover margin, you've done a good job. Not only did you take care of it, but you created some takeaways. So these two guys, they're more evenly matched than you think. They play it differently, but both of them are really good.
Before we get to the Eagles, in preparing for New England, like we all saw the second half of that Jacksonville game, and we're saying, why are you just slamming it into an 8-9-man front and giving Bortles a second and long on defense? I mean, they're chipping your ends. Bring someone else up the middle outside of your 2D tackles. We were kind of looking at game planning of doing things differently. You say you've watched that Super Bowl a ton of times. Would you have done something differently game plan wise? There's execution of just letting the players execute, and there's game plan of how you would do it. Would you have changed things?
Yes. Yeah, no doubt about that. That was probably the first thing that came through to say, okay, what other calls, would you make? And I'd say probably starting defensively, when you go through, ended up being 90-some plays. So you better have enough variety when you're playing somebody as skilled as New England is offensively. They're ready to answer, and you got to be ready to answer. So sometimes when you're not prepared to generally make 90 calls, seems like a high number for the college guys. It probably doesn't, but that would be one side. And then on the other side, offensively, what do you go back to do differently? Yeah, for sure, you go back and say, these are the changes, these are the ones. And that's, I guess, what I was referring to, Mike, for me to learn in those moments, too, to say, okay, this is how we're going to go in this situation. So you learn from it. They're painful to go through, but you definitely do learn from it.
Falcons head coach Dan Quinn on with us this morning on Golic and Wingo. So at the first glance, I think a lot of people will say, look, the Patriots obviously are who they are. I think they're the favorites in this game, and they are by the line. But what do you think the Philadelphia Eagles have to do to sort of upset the apple cart here and walk out of there with their first ever Super Bowl title?
I would say, like in a lot of games, I think it's going to be a line of scrimmage day. And they've got a really equipped offensive line, talking about Philadelphia. And I think it starts up front with their center. He can really get out. He can get to the second level. But I thought as a group, this is a good offensive line. And usually when you go through, and Mike can relate to this, who plays well as a group. You feel that communication. You just don't see any mistakes in their protection where you get busted. So I think that part, the line of scrimmage, Philly's offensive line and New England's ability to, generate some pressure, that's going to be a factor. And I think same thing on the other side. Philly plays in a different style where they really want to get upfield and try and, set edges in the run game. And you still have to be able to run the ball and get the ball outside. And they'll find their ways to do that for sure. But I think that, to me, it's going to be a line of scrimmage day. And who can affect the quarterback, who's going to be able to, move the ball on the ground, that's going to be a real factor in my opinion, Trey.
Falcons head coach Dan Quinn with us. Dan, I got to ask this question because the Vikings came so achingly close to being the first team ever to play a Super Bowl in their home stadium. Next year, it's in Atlanta. I mean, are those? Do you use those sort of things to try and motivate the guys? Say, look, yeah. I mean, Rick Pitino once famously said, "Hey, we lost this Final Four. Wouldn't you rather win it in New Jersey next year when you're in your home state?" Is there any way you can sort of say, "Yeah, that one got away from us, but think about how great it will be when we win the Super Bowl in our stadium in Super Bowl 52."
Well, I don't know if you guys have been down here yet, and Arthur and the group. It's been amazing what they put together. So, one, just as they've done a remarkable job. So, for the city to get rewarded and for Arthur, to have that here, it's awesome. For us as a team, that's a long way from now. So we got plenty of work to do, guys. And I hope like hell we are talking this year, a year from now, this week, and we can talk about how cool that would be. But until then, we got much to do. And but we are, kind of pumped about, for the city and for the, all that Arthur's done in terms of building this stadium to get rewarded for that, to have the opportunity to host one here. Man, what an honor.
Wow, Dan, did you just guarantee that you guys will be there?
Look at you. Stop it. See what he's doing? See, you think...
Earlier you said you were all about the truth on this show, so already we're busted it.
Exactly. See, you think he's the normal, former player he gets, and he's the radio hot taker in this group, Dan. I'm with you. I'm trying to keep this thing on track. All right, well, listen, Dan, we appreciate you being with us.
Definitely.
And hopefully we will be talking to you next year about the Falcons having the first ever home field advantage in a Super Bowl, because that stadium is absolutely fantastic.
It is fantastic. I have a feeling we'll talk to you probably in the preseason first and start there.
Dan, sounds good, guys, and appreciate you.
You got it, Dan. Thanks so much. Dan Quinn.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast.
Let's not expect too much. There's only one person out there that's expecting way too much out of this guy too early. We know who that is. It's his father.
Golic and Wingo with you on a Friday morning. Glad you are here with us on ESPN Radio or watching on ESPN2. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Coming up a little later on in this show, on this hour, Mike Vrabel, Titans head coach, will join us. We'll get Howie Long, Pro Football Hall of Famer, in the next hour. And Bob Herrig will join us, our ESPN golf analyst, to talk about what he saw out of Tiger Woods' return, which I thought went about as well as you could possibly go.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that.
We'll get into that a little bit later. We're also going to grill Golic a little bit later.
Yes.
So send in some of your tweets at hashtag Grill Golic, and we will have some of those for you. In fact, you want to do that right?
Let's
do
some
of those.
Why don't you grill me a little bit? I'm hungry.
Let's start a little grill Golic. Do we have a thing for Grill Golic or no? No, not really. All right, sorry.
Seriously? We have nothing for Grill Golic.
We'll just do this.
Nothing.
That's it. That's you.
All right.
And by the way, if you don't like that, I just like to say,
I've made a huge mistake.
There you go. That's the other one. All right, here we go. Grill Golic questions. You ready? Right. Robert wants to know, what is more enjoyable for you to eat? One gigantic donut or lots of little donuts? Hard-hitting ones right off the top.
Wow. So from a health standpoint, well, I guess it's tough to say that word and donuts, but at least with the
yeah. That was perfect. Just so people understand, from a health perspective, pause, it's hard to say that when I'm talking about donuts.
But you'll understand when I say it this way.
Okay.
With the little donuts, you can stop at some point, and they're little donuts, you can just stop. You can have a few and not eat them all. A big donut, to me, is a challenge. I can't eat like half a big donut and then stop.
Well, you did eat 36 once.
Of the mini donuts. Yeah. It's just like a beer. I can't leave a beer with any in it. I have to finish them. So if I'm eating a big donut, I have to eat the whole thing, which is probably the way I would go. I would feel challenged at an oversized large donut to eat the whole thing. So I will go with gigantic donut.
By the way, whenever I see the words "little donuts" together, all I think of is that great John Belushi sketch from Saturday Night Live, where he's an Olympic athlete. And I logged a lot of miles for that day and downed a lot of little chocolate donuts.
Little chocolate was so good.
With a cigarette in his hand,
So
by the way.
good.
Belushi was so great. He would have been 69, I think, last week or something. Man. Unbelievable. Okay, we continue. Ron wants to know at Grill Golic, Oscar nominations came out this week. What was the best movie you saw?
When I saw Logan, I thought it was really, really, really
I thought
good.
I couldn't enjoy Logan because I hadn't seen all the other ones, but people tell me, no, that's not true.
I really liked Logan a lot. I did like, of the ones that are nominated, and I saw Get Out, I saw Dunkirk. I liked Lady Bird. I saw that one. Out of the ones I saw, I liked Lady Bird the best, but I have not seen all of them yet. But Logan, as far as one, I did like that one a lot.
I loved Get Out. I loved
You
Get
did?
Out.
I didn't really dig it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I thought I was going to like it better, but I didn't.
You know why? I saw it early, and there hadn't been a lot of hype about it and talk about it, so I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
What is going on here?
It was pretty wild when because we all sit at movies trying to figure out what direction it's going to go until that aha moment.
The worst part about this, and you can appreciate this, had a giant soda in there, so I had to leave and go to the bathroom for a minute. I left at the moment when you find out exactly what's happening.
Really?
And I was like, what did I miss? And my son looked at me and was like, you left at the worst.
There's an app. There's an app like a P app.
Run P.
Run P, is that what it is?
Yeah, it was started by Carson Palmer's younger brother, Jordan Palmer.
For those that don't know what we're talking about, you can go to this app and it'll tell you the moments during a movie that you can run to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you won't miss anything. You could have used it there.
I really could have used it there.
Way to go. Good job.
I did love that movie. Oh, hey, look what I found.
What?
It's time to grill Golic.
It's heating up a little bit.
With Golic and Wingo.
You feel better?
Yeah, I do.
There you go.
I do. See who I had to punch after the show.
Not me. Steve wants to know, which NFL Pro Bowl skills event would you have been the best at?
I mean, you look at them, the talent competition, again, won by Justin Tucker for singing Ave Maria. I can't sing. Well, I can sing, but not like he sang.
Right.
And no chance. I can't play an instrument.
There are notes that would come out of your mouth.
Yeah. So there's dodgeball, kick-tack-toe, best hands, gridiron, gauntlet, precision passing. I'd have to stick with dodgeball just because that really kind of, hands, you're thinking more receivers and stuff, kick-tack-toe, a set of skills with your feet. Dodgeball, nobody's really used to playing dodgeball. So I think I would go into that and try and blend in with everybody else in that one. So I'd say dodgeball. And plus, just because
How would you blend in?
I want to blend in with the other people who don't normally play dodgeball.
So you would hide behind them?
No, I don't mean blend in. Blend in with their talents. Like if I go into the best hands competition, I'm not blending in. I'm the guy with the worst hands of the best hands. I go into dodgeball. All these guys have never played dodgeball, so we're all kind of hopefully the same type of...
But they're all faster than you.
It's not all about speed.
What is it about that?
Duck, dodge. What are the other ones?
And can you catch? You just said you have the worst hands. You got to catch the dodgeball to get somebody out.
I can catch a dodgeball. I was a tight end in high school. Yeah, I can catch.
And you did pick off Troy Aikman once.
And I had 3 interceptions, my friend.
3? Who were the other 2 against?
The other 2 were against Don Majkowski.
The Magic Man?
Magic Man and Jim Everett.
Okay.
There you go.
So
picked them all off, and they all tackled me.
That was where I was going next.
Yeah.
You know what, though? You did it.
Whatever.
You did it.
Whatever.
Donovan wants to know, Golic, you always talk about retiring in Arizona. Would you consider being Herm Edwards' defensive coordinator?
Listen, I would love to coach. I would. I don't know if after all the time doing all of this, I would want to go into something that full time of like a D coordinator.
You'd just like to be a part-time coach?
No, like a D coordinator.
Water guy?
Yeah, I would, let me put it this way.
Water bottle coach.
I'd like to go help somewhere. You know what I would like to do? Quite honestly, I would like to go help out at a high school.
You know what you would be great at?
What?
The get-back coach. Wouldn't he be the great get-back coach? This holding people back. Remember those coaches on the sidelines? Those coaches are going out there field. You're the one pulling them back to make sure they don't get a penalty.
You're an idiot. Okay?
Why?
Because that's not coaching.
Well,
okay?
He's on the staff.
No.
You said you didn't want a full-time gig. Play to your strengths.
I just said
yeah.
I'd like to help out of high school. That's what I would like to do.
I'd already moved on to the idea of...
You'd already shut me out.
I had already moved on to the idea of you being the... Because some of those coaches are and the idea of you pulling them back, you could snap them back.
I couldn't do that because I was always someone getting yelled at to get back, so I couldn't be yelling at everybody.
Then you would be correcting your own issues.
No, wouldn't want to do it. Would not want that job because you know what that coach is? Hated.
Yes,
okay?
That's true.
I don't want to go into something where I'm hated.
Or he's loved because he keeps the team from getting a penalty.
No, he's hated by the players.
By the players.
I don't want to be hated by the players.
Okay, so we got Twitter questions. hashtag Grill Golic. You can also call us at 860-506-5505 and leave your Grill Golic question. That's 860-506-5505. We have some of those.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Hey, Golic, who would win in a fight, a gorilla-sized chicken or a chicken-sized gorilla?
A gorilla-sized chicken or a chicken-sized gorilla?
This one's obvious.
I would go with the gorilla-sized chicken.
No. Yes, you would. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the size it's turning into.
This is a math. This is a physics problem.
Yeah,
this is a physics problem.
Bigger would be better there. I think.
I would agree.
Right?
I would agree.
Yeah.
We got time for one more?
Yeah, do another
one more. You want to do? Hey, your choice. You want to do an email or you want to do Twitter?
No, I
mean voicemail or Twitter.
Voicemail.
Voicemail. All right, here we go. Another one.
Morning, guys. What is the one thing that will allow the impossible to happen? And by that, I mean letting the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Patriots on next Sunday. The only thing I can think of is if Tom Brady doesn't eat enough avocado ice cream. So let me know. Thanks, guys.
I agree with Dan Quinn. It's line play.
Yeah.
I go right up to the guys up front, how well that Philly O-line is playing, and Fletcher Cox on that interior defensive line. Now, they have other really good D linemen as well. I don't want to sell them short, but I absolutely agree that this is a line of scrimmage game. Can the O-line control it and the D-line get pressure? Again, Jacksonville got 3 sacks, but New England adjusted. They chipped the ends, and Jacksonville did not adjust to that. So they were basically rushing with 2 rushers on the inside. One of the few times they blitzed with Myles Jack, he gets a great shot on Tom Brady. They didn't do that enough. New England adjusted. Jacksonville didn't. And the one thing I love about Philly attacks. They attack.
And to that point, that's what you have to do. I think if there's anything we've learned over the last couple of years, and I've talked about this with a lot of Eagles fans over the last week, if you're going to beat the Patriots, you have to finish them. You have to finish them. You cannot miss opportunities. Ask the Falcons. Ask the Jaguars. You can't on 3rd and 1 give up a strip sack with a 16-point lead with 7.5 minutes to play. You can't, when you're up by 10 in the fourth quarter, allow them a 3rd and 18. Because the Patriots are not going to beat themselves.
No.
That's the one thing I can guarantee you. They are not going to beat themselves. What you have to do is sweep the leg.
Yeah.
You have to go total Cobra Kai on these guys.
You do.
You
exactly
can't
right.
give them an ounce. You can't give them a sniff. You can't give them a hope because the strip sack in the Super Bowl gave them life. Tom Brady said it. We played it this week. When they converted that 3rd and 18, it was like, we can do this. And once you give them life, they will suck the life out of you, and they will destroy and crush your soul.
Yeah, and listen, Jim Schwartz, the D coordinator, is going to try and put pressure on Tom Brady. He's not just going to be satisfied with a 4-man rush unless it's getting home, but when New England adjusted like they did to Jacksonville, didn't do anything to adjust back.
You have to take away their hope. That's what you have to do.
Sweep the leg.
Otherwise,
do you have a problem with that?
Otherwise, no, not at all. Otherwise, they're going to do that to you. All right, Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We just went dark there.
Yeah, we did.
I mean,
well, no, that's what he says to him. Do you have a problem with that?
Exactly. Cobra Kai. We are getting you set. We got Mike Vrabel coming up in just a little bit. By the way, and I've said this before, and we'll ask Mike about this, Vrabes has one of the greatest statistical lines in the history of sports. As a linebacker, 12 catches, 12 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Twice in the Super Bowl.
Is he the greatest receiver ever?
He better be, and he better claim that when he comes on the show.
Claim the title.
So you take the title, hold up the belt, Vrabes. By the way, we will also want to know what are your odd statistical things in sports that you find fascinating. I'll give you another one, okay?
Okay.
Stan Musial, Hall of Fame baseball player.
Right.
Stan the man.
All right.
Career hits, 3,630. 1,815 at home. 1,815 on the road.
Really?
He was the same guy whether he was playing in his home park or wherever.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's the picture of consistency. Right
okay,
there.
so those are kind of the statistics you're looking for.
So if there's a weird stat that you like and you think is pretty cool, hit us up on our social feed at Golic and Wingo and hashtag weird stat that I like or just weird stat. Our researcher Brett will make sure all of these are correct, by the way, before we put them out there. But there are those kind of things like the Super Bowl one with Chris Long and LeGarrette Blount maybe doubling that club of back-to-back Super Bowls with 2 different teams. So send those up to us.
I like that.
Yeah, those are good.
I like that. I still can't believe you want me to be a get-back coach.
Well, why not? You're good. You'd be good at it. You pull those guys
what,
back.
in all truthfulness, I would really like to do, in all honesty. Now, I would like to help out high schools. Like in you know what I think I could be good at? A, from the college side, I think I would be good to be on the committee. Okay. And B, for the NFL, I think I'd be a good scout. I would love to be a scout. Because I love going to watch the players.
Well, you like the OLDL drills at the Senior Bowl,
and I like the linebackers, and they were doing linebackers, running backs, and tight ends, wide receivers, DBs. I love all that. I definitely think I could break down players pretty well.
But would you like to do that? Because I think you said you wanted a part. Like, scouting is a full-time thing, man. You're on the road. You're doing all this stuff. Would you want to do that?
Well, scouting full-time. I mean, it's only during the season. Yeah. I mean, as far as traveling. You can't watch anybody go play, in March.
I still think you should be a get-back coach.
I'm not going to be a get-back coach.
He would be the greatest get-back coach.
Not going to be a get-back
coaches.
Let me try this. Get back!
Okay, done. We'll get back on schedule. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Let's do What's Trending. And I guess we'll find out, Mike, if this is actually going to be trending.
Okay.
The XFL is coming back, although it's in no way, shape, or form like the old XFL. It couldn't be less like the old XFL, except for the letters, the XFL, if you believe Vince McMahon. The WWE founder and chairman said the league will feature 8 teams, play a 10-week schedule, but he wouldn't say how they're going to do it. He wouldn't say when they're going to do it. He wouldn't say any specifics, and it's going to be in 2 years. So what do we really think is going to happen?
Well, again, it's completely different from the XFL we saw for the 1 year, which came out of the gate. The first week a game had a rating of 10, the second of 4, and then after that it was basically nothing. The LA Extreme, I think, was the team that won the first and only championship, quarterbacked by Tommy Maddox. And they're going completely the opposite. None of the cheerleaders, none of the crazy violence and names and things like that. It's going to be straight football. For one, I hope it works because I don't think there are enough opportunity for the amount of football players to play football to have a chance to play football, and this would give that to them. But there are many questions on whether it be successful or not. While he says it's not a feeder league to the NFL, a lot of the guys in that league playing will be trying to get to the NFL or get back to the NFL they were once in and not in anymore. There's so many questions, Trey. Again, it would be February to April, so it's not interfering with the NFL season, but you have the medical side of it, facility side of it. There's a lot to look at, union side of it, about how it would all work. I think giving themselves 2 years this time as opposed to 1 year the last time, that in 1 year sounds like a long time, but when you're setting up something like this, I think
logistics
the product
are a nightmare.
Was rushed out there. So now I think twofold. You have time to really set it up how you want it to give it a fair chance of working, or you realize in that time period, you know what? This isn't going to work, and it never really gets off the ground.
Right. I still don't have a TV partner.
I think it's a fair question. Is it more percentage right now that it's successful or even starts?
I agree.
Right out of the gate. But for one, I hope it works just for, as I said, more opportunities. Again, 10 teams, 40 players. You do the math. It's 400 opportunities for people to play, 400 players to play more football. So I dig that.
Again, 40-man roster, one of the things they said is going to be safer. A smaller roster doesn't sound to me like it's going to be safer.
There are a lot of things to wonder about in this. A 2-minute window, how you doing that? You're right, no marketing or TV partners now. A lot of questions to be asked that he didn't have the answers to now because maybe he doesn't have the answers to right now. And I think that's why the 2 years is some time to, okay, let's see where we can go with this if it even get off the ground.
Look, and we both want it to succeed.
Yes, we do.
Because we like football and we like to see players have an opportunity. Yep. We're just skeptical that it actually can or will
very much so
at some point. Staying with what's trending, approximately 400 Super Bowl prop bets have been posted in Las Vegas. And people, make sure we understand what prop bets are.
Right.
They have nothing to do with the actual outcome of the game. It's all weird things that may or may not happen.
This is how long over under on the time of the national anthem being
coin
sung.
Flip, heads or tails.
The dress someone is wearing. Or that's what this is.
Most points in a quarter.
The one of the best crossover ones right now is gold medals the U.S. gets in the Winter Olympics and total points of the first quarter. So let me spell that out a little for you. In the Sochi Olympics in 2014 in Russia, the U.S. got 9 gold medals. So what it would be is if there were 9 gold medals, total points scored in the first quarter of the Super Bowl, above or below 9. And remember, the New England Patriots in the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady era of all their Super Bowls have never scored in the first quarter. Nope. That's a great prop bet.
It is
a
really
great bet.
Or just will the Patriots score in the fourth quarter?
I just love that bet. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. By the way, the Olympics would not end in Pyeongchang until February 25th. So you have to wait a while.
You got to wait a little while.
But
to
that's
see
a good
where
one,
that
though.
goes. I completely agree.
You're just hoping for points. At
Yes.
this point. You want to see a donut up there in the points column.
Unless you pick the Olympics and you're hoping for medals. Then you're watching the Olympics. Maybe you wouldn't have watched just to see our Americans win gold.
That would be good.
Yeah,
that
excellent.
would be good. All right, we continue. Tiger Woods back. By the way, I shot a 72 at the Farmers Open, and it's funny as we're doing this right now. I'm watching the highlight on ESPN where he almost had a hole-in-one, one of his best shots on the day. Even par 72, his first official PGA Tour event since this event a year ago. And, it was level par, and I think steady is the best word to describe what we saw out of him yesterday.
Yeah, he had 19 putts inside 5 feet. He had 12 putts outside of 10 feet. Nothing in the 6 to 10 range. So for those 12, he was
irons off.
Doing a lot of lagging, lag putting, but driving average 299 yards. He was hitting the ball well there. You mentioned the irons. I thought, listen, I think if you said, hey, your first round back, Tiger, you're shooting even. And not a crazy double bogey here,
right.
3 par or 3 birdies, 3 bogeys. Nothing crazy, too crazy. This is you're going to shoot for the first round. I think he'd take that.
Totally
I think he would take that. The main thing he would take is walking off that course, not being in pain. Man, if you watch Jason Day play,
yep.
Holy
it was
smokes,
tough.
Watching him bend down, his back looked horrible, and we've seen Tiger go through that. So it's feeling pain-free after that, getting up this morning being pain-free. Those are the key things for Tiger, and then you go to his play.
Yeah, look, he was steady, and having been away from it so long, you just want to be on an even keel. And once you sort of get a feel and get into the tournament and playing tournament golf, then you're like, okay, we can maybe dial it up a little bit here. That was the best thing. The best things that I saw from him. One, it was a steady performance. He didn't have the two-way miss. The two-way miss is the death for any professional golfer, because then you're trying to figure out, okay, what am I correcting because it's missing left and right. His misses were essentially right. There was one weird sequence where he hit the driver and he immediately let go of the club. And then it was like 290 down the middle. So
yeah.
that one flummoxed him completely.
I'd love that mistake.
That would be terrible,
yeah.
right? I'd hate to be doing that every time. But the push to the right seemed to be his miss. And when Tiger's on, he plays a fade more than anything anyway, because that's a little baby cut. Jack Nicklaus won 18 majors, by the way, playing that way. So I think that he can handle maybe that little the snap hook to the left. That's the one where you're like, what am I doing? I'm out of sync. My upper body and lower body are completely not together. For the most part, the swing looked tied in, and it was pain-free. It wasn't stressful. There weren't, a bunch of 12 to 10 foot putts for par. And I think that's the thing that he was happy about. He's just working off rust. He's working off rust right now.
I'd say he goes under par today.
I hope. I think so too.
I think he goes under par.
I think he got the fact that he finished that at level par. And there's 2 courses. I'm not sure. Brett, can we find out which?
The South.
Yeah, which course is he playing today? Can we find out which one?
He's playing the East.
He's playing the North course.
He's playing the North today. And I think that's. I think that's the easier of the two 18s. If I'm not
it is supposed to be the easier one.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can go under
par. The key
today.
here is make the cut, get 2 more days of golf, and get in that rhythm.
Yeah, and so it's just nice to see him back with an opportunity more than anything else.
This has been the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast. Make sure to subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, and to listen every weekday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and the ESPN app.